And then maybe like 45 minutes later, somebody called me from the line. Today I feel pretty okay. I feel like I get ready, put some mascara on, I put my leggings on. I didn't just stay in my pajamas all day. Put earrings on. I cooked lunch. I haven't made lunch in probably 2 weeks. I don't feel energized, but I feel pretty put together. I haven't cried anything. Days where I feel better, I have kind of a hard time understanding how I cannot feel good. It was probably I woke up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever, but I'm glad the week prior to this week was so bad that I forced myself to seek help, because I just realized that is a part of my type of postpartum journey, is that it goes very much up and down. Like, it's not consistently down. Like, I can still laugh, I can still feel somewhat put together, I can feel genuinely happy short amounts of time. With help of my husband, with help of my mom, and one of my best friends in Sweden that I talked to on the phone, I came to the conclusion that I need to seek help. When I was pregnant, I already heard like all of my OB, my nurses, everything, they all said that I was in the risk group for postpartum depression, because in my early 20s I've had problems with anxiety, problems with depression, and I've also been treated for it. I can do a whole nother video on that, but I have been pretty well, I would say, the past 5 to 6, almost 7 years. I think just because I do have a history of depression, they knew that I was in a risk. I had like risk factors. So they were very aware of like that with me. So they were talking about it all the time with me, or not all the time, but they sent me a lot of brochures, like over and over and over again. I get a lot of information. Like, I knew everything about postpartum depression. I knew some of the most common symptoms and warning signs. I just had decided that I would not get the postpartum depression. Like, I would not get it just because I was in the risk group for it. And I thought that the more, like, I know, like, the more facts that I know and that I actually am aware, I know everything about how I feel, my feelings, I'm so in tune with myself, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I thought that would exclude me from getting into the state of depression. Why are you biting my toe? That's so gross. You can bite your own. That's not as dirty. Mine has been in my dirty flip-flops all day. Yeah, don't bite my toe. Yeah, you can bite your own toe. You bite your own toe, right? Where was I? Yeah, so I thought that since I was so aware of my well-being or not well-being, that, you know, I would not get the postpartum depression. I had a really good pregnancy and I had the birth of my dreams. Whoops! Where are you going, mister? I'm gonna do a separate labor and delivery story just because I look back. I know a lot of women look back on their hospital births, especially hospital births, with fear or with anxiety, and I look back on my birth as the most beautiful experience, the best feelings, the best high, the safest place that I have ever been. So for me, I want to just share that story, but that's a separate video that I'm gonna make. But point being that I did not have a traumatic birth whatsoever, and I know that's a risk factor. Oh my god, I'm losing track. See, that's one thing, like I lose track so fast, like I don't even remember what I was talking about. I was talking about my birth. Oh yeah, I look back on my birth as a positive one. So that was my point, was that I didn't not have a traumatic birth. Like a lot of women with postpartum depression, or some women I guess, had a traumatic birth or emergency C-section, or there was something wrong with the baby, or there was something wrong with them, or they had a lot of interventions, or whatever it may be. Like that is a part of why they have a postpartum depression. So in my case, I did not have any of that. Like I had the most amazing birth ever. I stayed at the hospital for 3 days, and I had the most amazing time and the most amazing nurses. How do you find it? Okay, I'm gonna put this away. When I got home, everything was great. Of course, I had the baby blues. I was like very emotional, but it was like a beautiful emotional experience. Like the tears were from joy and not from fear, or not from, any of that. Like I was just exhausted. Baby blues for quite a long time, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks or so, and then I feel like got a little bit better, but then it started. They said that like, oh well, the first 3 months are the worst, and Leon was a very good baby, and he still is like a very like good baby in quote unquote. I had never had problems breastfeeding him. He latched on right away. Like I did not have anything to blame. Like I didn't have any like difficulties with him. Like I didn't have, and I still don't. Like everything is good. He is good. His development is good. His weight, his height, like everything is great. He sleeps. He wakes up to nurse. I put him right back again. He slept. We were co-sleeping for the first 5 months, and like I don't have anything to blame. That's probably why I waited so long, was because I just felt like I didn't have any reason to be feeling the way I feel. So anyways, and I don't know why I wanted to film this video today, because like I feel on top. I feel like I can do anything today. I feel great. I feel productive. I feel creative. I feel a little like this happy feeling. Like I feel in love with my baby. Like I feel all of those things now. So like I am able to feel those things, and that's why I'm doubting, like, is it really postpartum depression, or is this just the way I am and the way I'm always supposed to be, and like is this just a part of me and my personality or something? Like it's just a mystery to me, like the way that I work. So I am glad that I finally took the step to seek help, just because the days where I'm not like this, the days where I can't do anything, the days where I just cry, or the days where I have anxiety, those are the days that are not normal, and those are the days where I need help. So that's why I'm really happy that I actually took the step to call the helpline. And once I called the helpline, so it was last week on Tuesday night. I had talked to my mom. On Tuesday I had also talked to my husband. Like, I mean, of course I talk to him all the time about these things. I was so broken down that I was just desperate. And then I talked to my best friend as well. This was on Wednesday, so I talked to her on Wednesday, and that's where I was still completely broken down, and I just opened up. And I haven't really opened up. I mentioned to her, but I haven't really opened up in detail about some of the horrible things that I'm going through, and like the feelings and experiences that I have. So when I did that, I think she got just quite scared, and because I was like, I don't know where to turn. I have all these brochures here, and she was like, how do you not know where to turn when you have all of those numbers? Just please pick up the phone and call them. Like, I cannot do anything from here. Just call them, and after you call them, just please let me know, and I'm with you every step of the way. Like, she was just so supportive. She made me take the step and call. And so I took the stroller, I went to the park. I kid you not, it took me 4 hours. 4 hours. I just couldn't admit it to myself until now. So I sat in the park for a couple hours, and then I took another walk, and then I came back towards the park, and I rang the number, and it goes to a answering machine. So that was kind of like an anticlimax, because I was expecting somebody to pick up because it's a helpline, right? And so I was like, okay, well, it goes to an answering machine, and then somebody's gonna call me back. And I was like, oh, probably somebody's not gonna call me back, and I feel so like stupid and blah blah blah. And then they said, leave name and number and what state you're calling from. I left the information, and once I've done that, I just didn't know what to do. I had waited so many hours to talk to somebody, and like I was just like, I had already gone through in my mind 1,000 times what I'm gonna say, and like how I'm gonna sound, and like all of those things were when you have anxiety, and like when you're very worried about all the things all the time, and like what people are gonna think about you, you go through in your mind like 10,000 different scenarios before you even get to the person you're going to talk to, whether it's in person, or whether it's on the phone, or whether it's online, or whatever it might be. So like once I got to that answering machine, I was like, oh my god, like it was kind of annoying. But anyways, I got home, and then maybe like 45 minutes later, somebody called me from the line, and I picked up, and I was like, I was not at all ready to talk. And I was like, oh my god, I regret that I called. Like, I just felt awkward. I told her, I was like, can I call you back? And she goes, oh yeah, okay, well, it would be great if you could call me in the next 45 minutes, because I'm gonna get off my shift. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll try to call within that time frame. She did sound a little bit like, you know, those like helpline people that you see in the movie, like very like artificial. But I was like, okay, well, you know what, like she's a volunteer, she does this because she really does care. So I was like, okay, let me just call back. And I started talking to her, and we talked probably for a good like 30 minutes or so, and she was like, I'm just like a first point of contact, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna help you find the resources where you live. She went through like all the cities where they have so-called coordinators, and they had one right here where I live. So that's where she connected me to them. It's like a mommy pregnancy postpartum center, and yeah, after that it all went really fast. So she sent me an email. She copied the person from the center into that email, so she could also read a little bit about our conversation. Yeah, that was it. And then the person at that center, she contacted me directly. So I did not have to contact anybody after that. It all just went really smooth and really automatically after that. So they just kind of hooked everybody up on the situation with me, and then they all contacted me. So I got in contact with a therapist at the center, and so she called me on Thursday. We were talking for like a good probably like 20 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, and went through a little bit like what I needed, and I felt a little bit better on Thursday, but like I was just really exhausted, and so but I could still put into words what I needed. And she said, you know, it's gonna take her a couple times to set like the right diagnosis or whatever, but she said that it sounds like I have postpartum depression. I got an appointment on the next day, which was Friday, and yeah, and then I went there. I'm gonna see her probably once to twice a week, and I don't really know that much more.